listen, people celebrate in a lot of different ways. Some businesses, driverless cars, and metro buses were vandalized overnight before police moved in to break up those crowds. Some of the officers there patrolling the streets on horseback as people were told to leave that area.
Looks like a bus has been tagged here on Olympic and Grand, where you have a police line, and there's all kinds of illegal fireworks being detonated here in this area. So we're going to see, there's one right there. And street takeovers on the other side.
Off the fucking Waymo!
Now, folks, it's always good to celebrate when your team wins. However, this looting, lawlessness, craziness, they were smashing vehicles, kicking doors, busting windows, jumping on anything they could find, spray painting and tagging. This is criminal. This is criminal, though it's expected when these type of World Series or Major League Baseball, NBA, hockey teams win in big cities. This was back-to-back for Los Angeles, but no arrests. Not shocking, but no arrests made. Will there be any arrests made? This is thousands and thousands of dollars of damage. Chaotic. Just people were targeted out there. If you were driving around there, you would get surrounded by a mob of people, would be jumping on your vehicles and stuff. That's crazy. That's unnecessary. It's crazy, lawful. You know, these people are celebrating. We say no to destruction of property. You don't destroy people's property.
The government spends approximately $8.3 billion on SNAP every single month. So if illegals were removed from the payroll, do the math, it would be reduced by the cost of 70%. Like most people, I didn't know about any of this. I had no idea Afghan immigrants were the #1 ethnicity, that 59% of illegals were on our payroll. Before the government shutdown, I had no idea. But because the Democrats wanted to weaponize food, because that's what they're doing, so their constituents would be hangry, you know, hungry and angry, going into the holidays, we now know that those tens of millions of illegals Joe Biden aided and abetted to come into this country are collecting food stamps on mine and yours dime. And here you thought paying for their New York City hotel rooms for a couple $100s a day, that was egregious. As for the Americans on food stamps, I have to ask, how much of your money are they getting? And what exactly are they buying with the food stamps?
And I just want to speak for those who are really being affected. We say the numbers, Sarah, 22 million, but I want to speak on behalf of Clifford Johnson in LA, who is disabled. He is paralyzed. And you know what he does for a living? Drive Uber with sticks. So this is somebody who does everything that they possibly can with no legs to still work, to still contribute to society, who's getting screwed on the Medicaid side, and also now being screwed on the food stamp side. So no matter what he does, this particular administration that is in charge now is screwing him either way. There is this stereotype that those who are on SNAP and those who are on these benefits are people who are lazy, people who are not contributing. So that $100, $150 that he gets every month may not make a difference to those who are sitting at the tables in Congress, but it absolutely makes a difference to him. So what would you say to him, to the Republicans who are holding Medicaid hostage and for food stamps? Should he now say, well, now I can't get my diabetes, all of the complications with being paralyzed, or starve? What would you say to him? What should his choice be?
Well, Republicans are not holding Medicaid hostage, number one. Number two, we protected Medicaid for those who are disabled to make sure that they are not losing benefits to those that are here illegally, taking benefits away from the very people who rely on this program, number one. Number two, again, we passed, Republicans in the House, passed a clean CR to fund SNAP, to fund WIC over a month ago. Democrats in the Senate have voted 14 times to keep the government shut down, to not fund WIC, to not fund SNAP. So this is not a function of Republicans playing politics. I don't care who the president is or what party is in power. I have voted every single time to keep the government funded and open. During Joe Biden's presidency, I voted 8 times to keep the government funded. Kevin McCarthy lost his job as Speaker of the House in large measure because he put a clean CR on the floor. It's time for Chuck Schumer to do the right thing, stop playing politics, stop kowtowing to Bernie Sanders and AOC and Zohran Mamdani, and vote to pass a clean CR as he did every time until this year. Well, every time in his career for 50 years.
Can I just say, let me just say this. I'm sorry. The people that I represent can't afford a plane ticket. So waiting in line for a delayed plane is not going to get them pissed. What's getting the people that I know who are upset are the people that are literally not being able to eat. To say that you're not holding Medicaid hostage when you know that Democrats are trying to negotiate to get health care back on the table.
That's the Affordable Care Act subsidy,
right?
Which is a totally different.
Right, but you know Democrats don't have leverage, so let's stop playing games. This is their only leverage that they have.
They've said this is the only leverage they have, which is why they shut the government.
That's exactly it.
Where's the deal maker?
Where's the deal maker?
You notice how she just moved the goalposts?
Yeah. Boy, that goalpost is on fire.
Launched it.
Come on.
You know, and the thing is that when he refutes her and he corrects her in reference to Medicaid, we all we went through the big beautiful bill. I'm going through it. It speaks on the disabled folks, and she moves it to talk about the subsidies, the $800 billion that would go to insurance companies. But we're not going to go there. But she just moved the goalposts. Let her keep going.
Come in and make a deal. So we've never allowed policy, and this is Chuck Schumer saying this. This is Hakeem Jeffries saying this. This is Nancy Pelosi saying this. We've never allowed policy to be extracted at the barrel of a gun by using a shutdown to hold the American people hostage. There's a very simple way to address all these issues. And by the way, I'm a lead co-sponsor on a bill to extend the ACA subsidy by a year. I went and asked Hakeem Jeffries 3 weeks ago, sign on to the bill. If this is what you're saying is the issue, let's get it done, sign on to the bill and join me. He said no, because it really was never about that. If we want to address health care in America, let's do it. But you don't do it in a shutdown.
There's some because you keep saying over and over, there's never, they've always signed on. Let me be clear. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I told Democrats.
That's a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie.
Independent Democrat.
The same thing that you're doing to them. They should have shut it all down, broke it all down. So I appreciate the or else, that Republicans are doing if that is the agenda that you're pushing. So
because it really was never about that. So if we want to address health care in America, let's do it. But you don't do it in a shutdown.
There's some because you keep saying over and over, there's never, they've always signed on. Let me be clear. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I told Democrats they should have did the same thing that you're doing to them. They should have shut it all down, broke it all down. So I appreciate the or else, that Republicans are doing if that is the agenda that you're pushing. So I just want to be clear about that. When you say they've always signed on, they should have stopped signing on a long time ago when Sarah was following us with the George Floyd matter. They should have shut it down a long time ago when we were looking to expand the Supreme Court. So I am all for, pushing the agenda and using what you can as leverage. And Republicans do that best. So now be confused why Democrats are doing that is confusing to me.
In my conference last Congress that wanted to shut the government down over Joe Biden's open border policy. I and others said no, not because I disagreed with them on the substance of the issue, but because shutting down the government is not going to solve the problem. And in fact, what it's doing, the very people that you're talking about that are not going to get food assistance, that's what it does. It creates this tit for tat game where each side uses the American people as a hostage in a ridiculous negotiation. We can easily pass the clean CR, open the government up, pass an ACA subsidy extension. I don't want to see people's health care premiums go up. But the fact is that this subsidy, by the way, the Democrats passed to expire at the end of this year. That's right. If they could have done a permanent extension while Joe Biden was president, they would have done that. But
your argument is, let's just pass it and let's negotiate later. And that reminds me of sometime when men say, don't worry about it, I'll just call you in the morning. So I've heard it all before. I've cheated on you 655 times. But this one time, you know what I'm talking about. But this one time, it's going to be all better. So in the words of Sunshine Anderson as an R&B singer, I've heard it all before. So to say, let's just pass it and don't worry about it, that's not how it works.
Well, then you will see this happen every single time. If people want to use a government shutdown, you will see this happen in perpetuity every year, September 30th. One group is going to hold it. And it's not.
I want the ladies to speak on this, and I want to play the next clip. I'll give Celeste and Crystal both the word. I ask that you guys don't go too long-winded.
Come on, lady.
I'll give you guys the word on this. What are your thoughts, Celeste?
I would like to say that men don't say, I'll call you. Don't worry about it. I'll call you in the morning to virtuous women. So you had a tell right there.
Right. You already knew what kind of person it was.
As Jay Witt says, that's some nasty work that you're involved with, that you have. The fact that you've heard that or you casually know how that's done shows you've had some nasty work.
Yes.
But as I'm happy that the Republican tried and did a fairly good job in trying to explain what the deal with the shutdown is. The real deal with the shutdown is, it is not that there is not going to be funding for Americans who need SNAP, for American citizens who need who are going to rely on the subsidy for health care, which is why Hakeem Jeffries won't sign on to that bill, is because what they are asking is for illegal immigrants. They are saying if we can't have illegal immigrants receive the benefits that American citizens receive in exactly the same proportion and with the exact same frequency, then we will tear this whole country down. And Republicans are going to have to get very good at learning how to say exactly that and make the American people know that the reason you are having difficulty receiving food, the reason you may be having the disabled outlook. I've got disabled people in my family. I told you last week what I'm doing is I'm buying the food. Definitely for this week and next week, and hopefully, you know, I can continue for as long as this goes on. I was like, go ahead, I'll fill your basket. But the point is not for disabled Americans. It's not about veteran Americans. It's not even about poor Americans. It is wholly about illegal Americans. And the reason is, and I said this, I believe 2 weeks ago on the show, because the Democrats are trying to hide what is about to become the plain truth, which is that they do not have enough numbers for a national election. If they don't get illegals to vote and dead people, because you know dead people are their friends. That was the whole mess in Georgia. The whole mess in Georgia was a bunch of dead people on the rolls who miraculously voted. If they don't have the dead and the illegal, they have no chance at a national election. If they have to show an ID and a death certificate, their prospects are at national electoral success is over. And what they are trying to do is hide that from their voters. They are using all this so-called leverage and so-called anger over SNAP benefits and Medicaid benefits as a smokescreen for the fact that they have got to get some enticement here so that the illegals will come, because they're not coming, so that the illegals here will stay. Because if they don't do that, their national electoral prospects are slim to none. They do not have the numbers. Nobody knows how many real Democrats vote.
That's right.
No one knows. They'll tell you it's 75 million people who voted. No. We don't know how many eligible people are voting.
That's
we
right.
know the total number of ballots cast. That is not the same as the number of eligible people who voted, which is why they're going to fight for voter ID, which is why they are fighting all that, because we are taking away the enhancements and the enticements for illegals to either come or those who are here to stay. If we take away the benefits, there's no point in them being here. They will go home. And if that happens, the Democrats can't stuff enough ballots to make up the difference.
This woman literally is the definition of confusion, because she starts talking about the people, the man who has no legs, that's disabled, and how his food stamps are being cut off. And when the Republican corrects and says, we didn't stop it, then she, again, like we said, she moved the goalpost. Well, what about the Medicaid? But then she turns around and says that they're supposed to give them food, but then she's saying, but we need leverage. But then I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent, but I'm standing with Democrats. She doesn't even know what she wants. And I don't understand how crazy people get platforms. She shouldn't even be a voice of, she shouldn't even be sitting in just like Jennifer Welch. These are people that people need to cancel off. When y'all want to cancel people, go ahead and cancel crazy people like that, that are just spewing nonsense into the world, because that's pure nonsense. She doesn't know what she wants. The Democrats, as they call it, Schumer shut down, because they don't want to do their job. They would rather starve their constituents. And I want you to understand, it's your constituents, your constituents that you're starving.
That's right.
You'd rather starve them so that you can make a point than to give them what they need. They're trying to use this because we're near elections, and they want to basically say it's Trump and his administration for all the low information voters, because there's so many of them out there, to believe that no, it's really Trump stopping us from being able to get food. Trump is the one stopping us. So let's go ahead and vote for the Democrats in this upcoming election. Let's support people like Mamdani and Omar Fateh, because they're going to give us food while Trump and that administration is trying to starve us. Y'all go do your research. It is only the Democrats that is causing this problem. Yes, the Republicans can change it, but then they will set precedents like Obama and I discussed yesterday.
And he's the dictator.
They will try and set a precedent so they could do this in the future. We're not playing that game with them. Yeah. They're the ones that are starving y'all.
Absolutely. And based on the rule, the U.S. Senate, they can't simply eliminate the 60 vote threshold for closure. They can't simply do it. There's some votes and there's some things that would need to be done. And then at that point, if it was to pass, it would set precedents. And then at that point, the country, it could just go haywire, after that. But I want you guys to see this. This is from the USDA. Senate Democrats have now voted 13 times to not fund the food stamp program, also known as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Most folks know it as SNAP. The bottom line, the well has run dry. At this time, there will be no benefits issued November 1st. We are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. They can continue to hold out for health care for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition. And I'm glad that they're putting this out there, because it needs to be said. People need to know who's holding the country hostage right now. I want to play this clip from this young lady here.
Okay, these Democrats are playing games with people's SNAP benefits, and people need to understand when it comes to them trying to leverage this food crisis to get the subsidies for Obamacare taken care of. I want everyone to understand, especially Democrats and especially young Democrats who don't recall, when this stuff passed, that they always lied to you. They've always been dishonest about Obamacare. And you don't have to take my word for it. I'm going to play for you a clip of the Obamacare architect explaining how dishonesty and not being transparent is how they were able to even get the thing signed.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay, transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to get anything to pass.
Okay, you guys recall, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. Obama went around the country campaigning for the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. And it wasn't true.
Wasn't true.
It wasn't true. Now, Republicans tried to warn everybody, like, hey, this is not true. And the media and folks covered for him.
Yes, they
did.
But
after the fact, people found out once they started losing their doctors and losing their plans. They're like, okay, well, we're going to reward him the lie of the year. They didn't want to be upfront about the mandate. The Supreme Court ended up ruling that it was a tax. But they wanted people to basically pay for being alive. Fine you for being alive and not having health care insurance. It's not like you have to pay fees or whatever if you get a driver's license and you drive on the road or whatever. It's you being alive and not affording insurance, because they wanted everyone to be in the pool. And it's arranged like a pyramid scheme because young, healthy people are paying into the system for the sick people. And of course, these companies were forced to include more people in their plans.
Right.
And that makes the prices go up, obviously. So everybody doesn't want their prices to skyrocket. So they started doing these subsidies. And now these subsidies have run out, which, by the way, the Democrats are the ones who extended it and set them to expire at this time. So now they're in a pickle because a lot of people's insurance is going to skyrocket. Which, by the way, Obamacare has never been affordable. One of the reasons why Donald Trump won in 2016, maybe a lot of people on this app don't remember this, the prices went up right before that 2016 election.
Yeah.
That helped him. But I recall the narrative, at least from the right, was that Obamacare is meant to fail.
Yes.
It's meant to fail.
Excellent.
Because once it fails, people are going to want to have just universal health care and get rid of like the private market. That was the conspiracy from the right. Nowadays, you have people like AOC and Bernie Sanders are just like, forget about that private healthcare market. We should just, have socialized health medicine or whatever. And they're a lot more transparent now than they used to be.
Yep.
But that was a theory from the right that it's supposed to fail. And here we are, holding up people's SNAP benefits if they don't do the subsidies for these companies.
What a
no,
game.
They should negotiate and figure all this stuff out, but they need to open up the government.
That's right.
They need to open up the government.
Today, Pramila, Debbie, and I are introducing Medicare for All single-payer legislation. Our legislation would provide comprehensive care to all Americans, rich, poor, young, or old, with zero out-of-pocket expense.
Who's paying for it?
It would provide full freedom of choice regarding health care providers. You go to the doctor, the nurse that you want to. No more insurance premiums, no more deductibles, no more co-payments, no more filling out endless forms. No more fighting with the insurance companies to get what you paid for. And comprehensive means comprehensive. It means covering dental care, vision, hearing aids, prescription drugs, and home health care.
So what are you hearing back home about SNAP expiring on Saturday?
I'm saying that I will witness it firsthand. My wife, Giselle, she develops the free store in our community, and it distributes food 3 times a week. And her lines have already got longer. And now I will encounter people that have no SNAP benefits starting on Saturday, and I don't have an explanation for them. All I could say is, I'm sorry. It's an absolute failure what occurred here for the last month, and now things are really going to land. And imagine being a parent with a couple kids and how you're going to fill their refrigerator and pack their lunches and get on with their lives when the things that they've depended on now is gone because we can't even agree to just open things up. For a Democrat, we're not allowed to just open this up. I mean, then our party has bigger problems than I thought we might have already. It's like, that's not controversial. Pay everybody. And you have our workers here borrowed over $350 million to pay their own bills. Like, it's a failure. And like I said, to all of the viewers, I'm apologizing that we can't even get our shit together and just open up our government.
Schumer said this gets better politically every day for Democrats. What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, ask the hungry people on Saturday. It's like, that's the thing. Americans are not leveraged. This is not some shitty game show about who's winning or whatever. It's just like we have to be better than this and just open this up. And I do, talk to any number of Republicans who they agree that we have this conversation about extending these tax credits.
Is it me, or does anybody else recognize how much politicians, elected officials use profanity now?
Yeah,
this seems very interesting to me, how they just become very loose with profanity. And I'm not saying I'm not saying I want them to be, speaking that they can't be expressive, but it just seems very interesting how common now they just become very comfortable just cursing, using profanity. We've been being played for decades, so this is not a new game. This might be a new game, but we've always been being played, the American people. and pitting one party against another, one group against another group. Look at how mean and terrible these people are. This is why you're starving. It's pretty nasty work. And I don't know what it's going to take for us to come to realize that we're being played. This is all a game that we're being played. We're hiring people, electing people to play in our faces. And this is what's transpiring. So, I mean, it is kind of sad. And it would be actually, fearful if I was not trusting in my king to take care of this matter for me, and however it shakes out is exactly as he sees fit. Because otherwise, I mean, I could see how somebody could literally go to these extremes that we were watching because they don't actually have faith in Christ, because they don't actually have any hope in a savior who is truly just and truly kind and loving. So it is sad to see and sad to watch, but my faith is in Christ.
Yeah, I want to say that I found it interesting that oh God, his name escapes me. The Pennsylvania senator
Fetterman.
Thank you, Fetterman. It was laborious to get him to really succinctly tie the shutdown to the Democrats. I mean, he said it as roundabout as he
My way of China.
He possibly could. He kept saying it's a failure of government, but not really a failure of Democrats. And he's apologizing on behalf of the Senate, not necessarily Democrats in the Senate. I mean, just didn't really want to place blame exactly where he could. But I do think this manifestation on why small government is so desirable, because the American people should not be in a position that their sustenance is maintained by government. The reason the Constitution wanted to disperse power was so that nobody, if you had power was centralized, then anybody who was able to capture power would then have all of it. But if you had power that was dispersed, it makes it too difficult for one person, one party, one entity to go all of the places where the power has been dispersed to and gather it and therefore hoard it for themselves. So this is an opportunity for Americans to say, you know what, we've gotten ourselves in a bad situation. And I'm not talking about the disabled. I am not talking about the veteran. I am not talking about the person who absolutely legitimately needs help and should have help. But what I am saying is that for all of us who are not in that predicament, we should be working, we should be striving to make ourselves independent of government. That is what freedom is. And while I don't say that being a Christian is equivalent to being a conservative, there is a reason why being conservative benefits a Christian. Because what you want is the freedom to not have to be in supplication to anything but your God.
Amen.
So the freer you can be in your conservatism and in the way you live in your civic life, it will absolutely help you in the freedom that you need to be in the full supplication and practice of your religion.
Yes.
So it's an opportunity here. It's a terrible one, and unfortunately, people are going to have to suffer. However, the opportunities often come through the face of suffering. I think what we got to start saying is, as an American people, we want to be free. And who do we want to be free of? We're not trying to be free of each other. We need each other. Who we need to be free of is to not have to supplicate to a government. And that was the original intention of this extraordinary experiment. And we have got to get back to that.
What's happening, the problem that we're facing right now is the responsibility of both the Republicans and the Democrats, because over the years, this is an immigration issue. Had they not let the borders be open the way they have so many years, allowing so many people in, and it went on steroids under Biden, all of this would not have been an issue, because people would have been coming at the proper level, proper rate. They would have been properly processed, and they would have been properly due to get whatever benefits they can get. When you let the borders open and you let all of these people come in here unvetted, without any kind of proper controls, you have millions of people now in our country that should not be here, who have not assimilated into America, but they have brought their own culture here, their own flags, their own way of life, and they refuse to learn English. They refuse to learn our Constitution. So now you have a multitude of countries in our country, rather than just a multitude of foreigners coming in here and being assimilated into America. So now all these people are here, and they knew they were going to cause this problem. They had an agenda, of course. They want to make them voters, but that's not happening. But they're here, and now you have millions of people in here milking off of us, taking food out of American mouths. And now you have a power in position now who's saying we can't allow that to keep happening because we have to put our American people first. This is what's going. Now the ones who brought them over here and who want to use them as voters are saying, no, we got to keep taking care of them because that's where our power base is at. So this is the crazy we're seeing right now. So they're trying to make the Republicans look like the ones who are the enemy, when all they're trying to do is set things right where the American people get the proper support that they're supposed to get, and we don't put all of these hoarders and these people who are taking off our funds unjustly. We don't want them taking advantage. Now we've got to deal with them. We have the fact we can't play like this is not no issue. They have to be dealt with because they're here. You have millions of people here who now are not going to be allowed to milk off of our system. We got to find some way to take care of them until we get them out of here, because they're here. And now those powers that be that are against us are going to try to galvanize that power if we don't let them do what they want to do, and they're going to make them terrorists in our country. See, it's not a simple matter. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. You tell people that they can't eat now, they're going to become violent and vicious, and you're going to have people promoting that kind of viciousness. So opening those doors causes a whole lot of problems. And now we're stuck with this problem. We got to deal with it, but it's not an easy fix.
But I think there's this mentality amongst a lot of Americans on both sides where we want it to get better, but in order for it to get better, we are not willing to suffer at all whatsoever. We want it to be perfect right now and somehow be more perfect in the future.
Not going to
but
happen.
it's like the gentleman who had the super chat. It's not about what I can do, what I have to sacrifice to help other people. And this is the way we vote too. We vote on how it's going to help us. To Celeste's point, or to the gentleman, not Celeste, and say the woman who was on the video, when prices go up, it affects me, so I'm going to vote a way that it affects me. I don't really care if it impacts the rest of the country. I'm not willing to sacrifice for a short term, for a long term viewpoint of the United States of America that's actually beautiful. And I think the issue is that we used to, y'all understand, we used to throw tea into the ocean, right? We used to have revolutions over stuff that was much less than what it is today. And we're willing to let people walk all over us. There's conversations I've been having every morning, and I'll end on this. Every morning talking about these food stamps. And it's at the point now where if you cannot explain to me what the Democrats want in this bill to end the shutdown, you should not have an opinion about whether or not you get your food stamps or all, because you're not educated. You don't understand the government. You don't understand finance. You don't understand any walk of life besides your own. And yet you want to be upset in your ignorance when things don't go your way. And I'm happy that we see people waking up. That's a really good thing. I agree with Celeste. If Democrats don't win this one, they're going to have a hard time winning future elections if all parts of the equation are kept the same. Because once you wake up and you start realizing what's really going on, you don't really hear about a lot of Republicans who wake up to it and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go back to being democratic and letting people do whatever they just want to do and just ignore the fact that it impacts the community. You rarely see that. What you do see is Democrats becoming Republican and realizing, oh, Democrats don't like black people. They're actually the reason why things are going so badly in some cases when it comes to the black community. They proudly championed it. Oh, there's a lot of, I get mad at Trump for saying these racist things. So did Hillary, so did Bill, so did Bernie, so did, I think we need more people to wake up. I don't mind. I'll be honest with you. This may sound heartless. I do not mind if Snap gets turned off for a week or two, because it will encourage people. They'll cry. They'll be upset. They'll be really hurt by it, but they'll figure out the government is not my friend. We do not live in a society where the government's going to always sweep in and help us. You don't want to live in that society. You have to work. Whether you work now, whether you work in 50 years, or you work the rest of your life, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to build your own. That's the beauty of the United States of America, that you can work and you can build your own. Other countries, you can work the rest of your life. You'll still have a shoebox to live in. Thank you, China.
That's right.
Right? I just wish people were aware of that. Our education system has absolutely failed this country.
But I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Like, share, subscribe, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload.
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly, and securely. Don't wait. Decide how it ends.
Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" exclamation point, catch exclamation point.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're at a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
We're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.